It's the Happy Families podcast. It's the podcast for the time-poor parent who just wants answers now.
G'day, this is Dr. Justin Coulson, the founder of happyfamilies.com.au, dad to 6 daughters, husband to 1 wife, and the parenting expert and co-host on Channel 9's Parental Guidance, also the host of this podcast, the Happy Families podcast. Thank you so much for listening and allowing me into your life to hopefully be useful in making your family happier. Right now, school holidays in Queensland, which means that I'm doing my best to spend as much time in the sunshine with Kylie and the girls as I can. Today, a guest that I'm so excited to speak to. Just a couple of months ago, I read a book called Hunt, Gather, Parent. Now, it's not the perfect parenting book. I don't think that exists, but I got so much inspiration from this book. It's very rare that I love reading a parenting book, but this was a book that really, I just thought it was amazing. Hunt, Gather, Parent. The author is Michaeleen Doucleff, and Michaeleen is going to be joining me in the Happy Families Hot Mess Summit. All the details are online. We would love for you to join us for what is going to be, I think, the best summit we've ever done. We've done the Bringing Up Boys Summit, we've done the Misconnection Summit, and Little People, Big Feelings. They are literally world class. They are, the content, the tips, the strategies, the ideas, the guests, the expert level, phenomenal. But this Happy Families Hot Mess Summit might be the best one we've ever done. It's coming up. All the details are at happyfamilies.com.au or on our Happy Families Facebook page. Michaeleen Doucleff, the author of Hunt, Gather, Parent, is going to be one of our guests in the Hot Mess Summit, but she joins me today for a lightning round. Michaeleen Doucleff, who lives in San Francisco with her one daughter aged, I think, about 6. Is that right, Michaeleen?
6, yes.
Yeah, 6 years old. And Michaeleen has been so kind to jump on to the Happy Families podcast with me and have a conversation about all things parenting in our lightning round. So, Michaeleen, you have one child, age 6. My first question is usually, do you have a favourite child? But you've only got one child, so I guess I know the answer to that one.
I have a dog, but the human child is the favorite.
Right, not the fur baby. Who do you love the most? The dog, your partner, Matt, or your baby girl?
Oh my gosh, I'm all into family, so it's all equal.
Oh, you're so diplomatic. I like people squirming when I ask that question. What's your ideal number of kids and why?
I think 3, but I would space them out. Not 2 years, I would space them to 4 years. Because I think with 3, you've got the oldest one. When 4 years, they can start taking care of the middle one. And then that teaches the middle one how to take care of the little one. And you kind of got a whole team going on. It's like a basketball team, I
like that.
If I was younger, I would have 2 more, but space them out. 2 years is too short, especially if you don't have help.
Yeah. We've got our 6. They're all girls, so we've got a netball team. Next question for you. I know that you used to rate yourself pretty poorly as a parent until you went and wrote Hunt, Gather, Parent and learned from all of these ancient cultures. How do you rate yourself as a parent now?
Okay, I started at like a 1 out of 10, and I'm saying I'm like at a 7.
That's pretty dramatic improvement. Nice work. And then you'll have a teenager and wonder whether you deserve the 7. We'll give you some time.
There'll be a follow-up book for the teenager because I get asked for it all the time, so I know I'm going to need it.
Wonderful. What's something great that your parents did that you've tried to continue in your parenting?
My dad gardened with me when I was little. He had a massive garden, and then my grandfather did it too as I got older, and that has been wonderful for me and Rosie. We garden every weekend, and gardening teaches kids so many skills besides just loving nature and their food. It teaches you to be, humble and patient, and things will work out. And garden.
You've inspired me. Who's the better parent, you or Matt?
Oh, me for sure.
You didn't even think about it.
I wrote a book on it.
Most people squirm. What's the hardest thing about being a parent?
What we talked about a little bit of like being patient when you ask kids to do things. I recently haven't been good at that. I asked Rosie to do something. And like I say in my book, a lot of parents just ask and wait 5 minutes and then ask again without being more emotional. So find your shoes, Ernesto. Find your shoes, Ernesto. Find your shoes, Ernesto. Completely the same. And I need to be better.
But with 5 minutes in between each one. I love it.
But 5 minutes between each one, which is a long time. Bring out your stopwatch and try it. It's a long time. But you've challenged me to do it today. I'm gonna do it tonight.
If you could spend 1 hour with Rosie, your 6-year-old, at any age, what age would you choose and why?
I'd like to go back when she was like a baby. Because I didn't really get to enjoy it very much because I was so stressed and I was so anxious and I was so worried and controlling. And I'd like to try it again as the Michaeleen now.
That's beautiful. What's your ultimate joy as a parent?
Oh, working together with Rosie, like really cooperating, like when we really cooperate. And like I say in the book, work is one organism with multiple hands. There's not a lot of talking, like we were making kebabs. She puts one piece on and I put a piece on, and we're just having this really fluid interaction. And it's joyful for me, but for her, it just, you can tell it's like the best thing in the world that we made this together.
It's inspiring. What's the right age for a child to have a mobile phone?
Okay. When the child can pay for the phone and pay for the service as well.
That's the answer I always give. No one ever says that, but that's my answer as well. I say to my kids, when you can pay for it. Anyway, back to you. Sorry.
That's the Maya. That comes from the Maya families. The kids have to pay for it all.
Perfect.
You get a job, you can have the phone.
Perfect. I love it. What's the thing that your parents always said to you that you swore you would never say, but it keeps popping out of your mouth?
Oh, what did I say? What did I say? I'm not going to say it again. What does that even mean? I'm not going to say it again. Well, what's going to happen if I have to say it again? And I heard my sister say it the other day and I was like, oh no, but it still pops out of my mouth. I'm not going to tell you again. What am I going to do if I have to tell her again? It's a threat, right? But it's so like thinly veiled and vapid, just full of air.
I love that. What's your little girl Rosie's favorite thing to do with you, Michaeleen?
I think garden and cook. Well, she doesn't like cooking right now. Travel. She loves traveling.
I'm not surprised based on where she's been. The Arctic, Africa, the Maya villages, amazing. Okay, we've got 3 questions to go. Let's do this nice and quick. What are you most looking forward to as a parent?
I mean, her being a teenager, I'm really excited about it. I'm excited to try all this stuff I've read. I've been reading about teenagers around the world and what parents do, and I'm really excited to try it. Because something I've learned is that in taking problems are like practice, right? Every time there's a problem, it's a practice for something. And so I'm trying not to shy away from problems, really like lean into them.
If you could go back to you as a young mum, having one of those really tough moments and being so inexperienced, what advice would you give yourself?
Start reading David Lancey's book about parenting and childhood around the world. Because once I started reading that's when I started opening my eyes. Oh, I would read my book. I read my book. I used to read the Inuit section like every couple of weeks because I was so bad at being calm and patient, and it would help me like be calm and patient. And so I had to read it over and over again in order to learn it. So I would definitely read my book and then David Lancey's book.
So before I ask you the last question, I need to just emphasize something. I know this is supposed to be a lightning round and this podcast is supposed to be really short, but I have to say this. And Michaeleen, I hope that you're okay with compliments. I very rarely read parenting books. There's that whole diminishing returns. I've read so much about parenting, and reading a parenting book kind of feels like a waste of time for me because I know most of what I'm going to read in most books, and most people don't do parenting books. They're not saying anything that's unique or new, and quite often they're not even all that helpful. So, I mean, obviously my books are an exception, but your book, I know if you could travel back in time and talk to yourself as a young parent, you said that you would give your book to you. I would too.
Yeah.
Your book is a book that is now on my list of books to give people because I loved it so much. And that's something that I don't say that about parenting books very often because they annoy me so much. Because so few people will say the kinds of things that I'm saying in my books. But what you've done is you've taken many of the ideas that I have and you've given them context in these different families, in these different cultures, and you've made them so practical. Hunt, Gather, Parent is a book that I would give to a young parent who is struggling in those tough moments as well. I would say, read this. It's so helpful. That's a really big and blatant advertisement for your book, but I love Hunt, Gather, Parent. So thank you for what you've written.
Thank you so much. That means a lot to me.
The last question that I'm going to ask you, Michaeleen, is what's your biggest win as a parent, as a mum?
I raised a kid who we were at the pool today with Rosie's friend and her little brother. So not Rosie's little brother, the friend's brother. And he was struggling. He was hanging on the side. And I could see that the sister was swimming away. And Rosie went over there and started helping him and started swimming with him. And I asked her, I said, what was happening? And she said, well, the little girl was being mean to her brother and I wanted to help him. And you can't ask for more, right? This is to raise a kid that does that. I mean, she might not go to Harvard, but she knows how to be kind to other people. That's what brings us joy in our lives.
Michaeleen Doucleff, the author of Hunt, Gather, Parent. Thanks so much for joining me for a Happy Families lightning round on the Happy Families podcast.
Oh, thank you for having me. It was fun.
The Happy Families podcast is produced by Justin Ruan from Bridge Media. Craig Bruce is our executive producer. And for more info about making your family happier, visit happyfamilies.com.au or grab a copy of Hunt, Gather, Parent by Michaeleen Doucleff.